show?
I think it was great. Like, I liked it. You know, we play these two types of shows. Like, some are more like rock, kind of like punk rock, and then the kind of electronic stuff. So I think it was like a mixed audience today. So, you know, we had to kind of build it up, but I think it worked, and we got them. So it was good.
When I bought The Future of War back in '97.
You did, huh?
Yeah, I did. I was only.
I don't believe it.
No, I was only 16. It's true.
You were.
Yeah. When I bought the album, I thought like it was one of the most intense things I've ever heard. Do you think like the time you were gone, or at least not active, do you think there were things that reached similar levels of intensity, for instance?
For me, it's hard to say because like my own music doesn't feel that intense to me. Like
Really?
It feels like normal. So, but I think what happened is that more people, you know, I think music is like a language, and certain ideas just come up and they get absorbed by other people and adapted. And I think we've seen a lot of electronic acts who were like, okay, I like parts of Atari Teenage Riot, so let's take some of these parts and you know, take them as influences. It really depends how you define intensity. I mean, for example, I'm a huge fan of Japanese noise, like really like Merzbow, Masona, like old, like, you know, like early 90s, late 80s.
Boredoms.
Yeah, stuff like that. Or Keiji, Haino, you know, those guys. So to me, I love that kind of noise. I find it super intense. But then, you know, some other people might go, I don't get it, it's just noise. So, you know, I think it's really how your brain understands the language. And it's not a sport, you know, it's really how much you enjoy it. You know, I think Atari Teenage Riot was always had these both sides. It's like some stuff was very extreme, but we also had the songs. You know, like Speed is a good example, or Destroy 2000 Years of Culture, or stuff like that, which are real songs in a way. So I think the audience, there are sometimes people who look for that next level of, you know, the harder you can get, but then there are other people who just enjoy the songs.
It's kind of like a code sometimes, like certain dance music you start listening to, and then it kind of clicks, and then you can really listen to the subtext, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, we call it hidden codes in our music. References that people who know, they understand them. Some outsiders sometimes don't understand the secret language. For example, there's a lot of that stuff on the new record. There's a song called Collapse of History. And it really goes back in the way to the early days of Atari Teenage Riot, where we really came from the techno scene, and you know, we incorporated like this big like war chant, like where I did these like 40 vocal takes, so it's like almost like a football stadium or something. Yeah. And you know, it's a little bit like a link to songs like Kids Are United or stuff like that. The message of the song is about how people seem to forget the history, the time and space. You know, everything is available all the time through the internet. You know, it's almost like when you talk to somebody who's maybe like 15, 16 years old, they don't know where to play certain music, because for them, maybe Billie Holiday is the same as Rolling Stones or Atari Teenage Riot.
It's on the same level, isn't it? It's very weird.
So I think because people have lost that sense of pop where everybody takes part in one stream, you know, like the summer hit that everybody knows. You know, I know a lot of people who don't even know who Lady Gaga is. It's so fragmented because you can go to the internet and just listen to the music you want to. And so a lot of people just live in these fragmented scenes in a way, and I think that's a healthy thing. I think many people find their own taste of music now. Why maybe 20 years ago or 10 years ago it was always a reaction to the mainstream. You know, I think that has really changed.
You've mentioned the internet. The theme is all over your new album. The title is this hyperreal. Are you asking the person to judge if this album is really part of the internet realm or not? Really inside the internet or outside the internet? Is that the idea?
The title has different meanings. It has, for example, since we started, there has been the question, what is authenticity? You know, how real can, so for example, a revolution or rebellion be with music? And I found this always a very interesting question, because art is always, in a way, hyper-real. You know, we had, for example, this phrase, riot sounds produce riots, which is about playing riot sounds to a large amount of people maybe in a shopping mall. Because they hear the sounds, they think they're in a riot, and then they behave like that, and they maybe even call the police, and actually there would be a real riot because people just believed it. People are very active now, like on the internet and stuff, but what is happening to make a real change happen? And I think it's very interesting time right now where hyper-reality, it's almost, we create our own illusion of things that maybe even never transfer into the reality. The Atari Teenage Riot, the way we came back together in a way was under weird circumstances. Hanine Elias called me up last year, and like in 2009 actually, like it was just a little bit over a year ago. And she was like, don't we want to play one show in London? And I was like, okay, because she left the band a lot of times and she did a lot of damage. So she wanted to repair some of the damage. And I was like, I was saying, okay, why not? You know, let's just make peace. But then she didn't turn up for the London show again in May 2010. And then we were like, okay, we announced this and we can't let the fans down now. We just went on stage and played the show. And it was very strange, the experience, because we faced a new audience who came because of maybe like MIA, Crystal Castles, Pendulum, all these new acts. And it was a different lineup in the band, but it worked and it felt like a new thing. So there's no plan, like a career or comeback plan. We just do it because it seems people want that musicians express these ideas in music. So that's why we ask also the question on the album, what is Atari Teenage Riot really about? Is it the ideas, or do people want to admire icons from the 90s, or what is it?
We're having a political crisis in Portugal and Greece and in Ireland and the whole of Europe. Like, it feels right now that there's not much hope left. But you, as your political stance shows, might have lost hope much previously than that. I don't know.
I haven't lost hope.
No.
I
mean in the system.
Yeah, to me, I'm an anarchist libertarian. So that means I'm against governments.
Yeah.
I think governments are corrupt. They have mafia-type relationships with the corporations, and that's why it can't work. It's a fake democracy. I said this 15, 20 years ago when we started, and I think now it's very visible because we see certain stuff has to change. What we have to do, we have to teach kids and people how to respect each other. But I think everybody's behaving like little babies who always go, big brother government, big brother police, help us. It's like, you know, it's common sense. If I walk down the street and I see an old woman who falls down, I help her out. You know, I don't need the government to tell me that. And I think it's a lot of that thinking in our societies, and I think Portugal is the same as Germany in a way, where people just don't understand that they can take responsibility themselves. But I'm optimistic. I think people want to survive, and people are good human beings. a lot of bankers and Wall Street people say, everybody's about greed. I don't believe it, because when I see people, for example, in Japan with the tsunami or Fukushima, people help each other. We are human beings. We help each other. You know, it's not like there are some people who are greedy, but there are millions of people who help other people.
You seem to me like a guy with a sense of humor, but being intelligent and so politically active, people ask you all sorts of serious questions all the time. Don't you get kind of tired sometimes?
No, because I mean, there are these two sides. You know, we have a lot of fun. We laugh all the time. I mean, sometimes people, they have this image, we're always violent and we always scream, but no, of course we're not. I mean, we do this music because we enjoy life and we want freedom. So it sounds maybe simple, but that's the way it is. So when I see these freedoms being attacked by laws or corporations, you know, or like certain politicians, I want to defend them. And that's a serious thing, but that doesn't mean I sit in my room all day and I'm depressed. Actually, it's really good to be active, because you know, you understand, you can't change maybe everything in one day, but you can change a lot of things in your surrounding. And I think if everybody would think like that, a lot of things would be better.